Hello students, thank you for joining with me today on this lecture of Human Resource Management. For today's lecture, our learning objective is to try to understand the selection process and all the steps involved in it. The selection process is not a single act but is a series of stages by which different types of information regarding the candidate is secured. At each stage, facts are revealed regarding the candidates, which eventually help in comparing the job requirements and employee specifications. A variety of methods are used by organizations for selecting the personnel. The selection pattern, however, is not common for all organizations. There is no standard selection procedure to be followed, it varies from one to another, depending upon the conditions and need of the firm. The following steps, however, are commonly followed in selection process. Preliminary interview. The main purpose of preliminary interview is more or less the same as scrutiny of applications. It is used to eliminate those candidates who do not meet the minimum eligibility criteria laid down by the organization. The skills, academic and family background, competencies, and interests of the candidate are examined during preliminary interview. Preliminary interviews are less formalized and planned than the final interviews. The candidates are given a brief about the company and the job profile, and it is also examined how much the candidate knows about the company. Preliminary interviews are also called screening interviews. The next step is what is called as application blank. If a candidate appears to have some chance of being selected, he is given prescribed application form known as application blank. Application blank is a personal questionnaire. It consists of identifying information such as name, address, age, marital status, educational qualification, work experience, etc. Candidates are usually asked to fill up the application form in their own handwriting. An application blank is a traditional, widely accepted device for getting information from a candidate. The questions are standardized and determined in advance. Employment test. Candidates who meet minimum requirement appear for various employment tests. These tests are helpful in further assessment of a candidate's nature and abilities. If the tests are properly conducted, they can reduce the selection cost by eliminating the unqualified candidates. Different types of tests may be administered depending on the job and the company. Tests are usually conducted to determine the applicant's ability, aptitude, and personality. Various tests conducted determined during the selection process are aptitude test, intelligence test, reasoning test, personality test, etc. These tests are used to objectively assess the potential candidate. They should not be biased. The next step in the selection process is employment interview. After putting the candidates through various types of tests, the successful ones are finally called for an interview. It basically consists of face-to-face interaction between the employer and prospective employee. The selectors ask for job-related and some general questions and observe the response of candidates. It helps in assessing candidates' strengths and weaknesses. Candidates interact with selectors and the latter get a first-hand idea of personality and other qualifications of candidates. Candidates also get a chance to seek information about the enterprise, nature of the job, prospects of a promotion, etc. If handled properly, it is a powerful tool in achieving accurate information and accessing material otherwise unavailable. There are various types of interview techniques that may be adopted, which are discussed in detail in the later lectures. Reference check. Many employers request name, addresses, and telephone numbers or references for the purpose of verifying information provided by an applicant. Previous employers, university professors, neighbors, or friends can act as references. Previous employees are preferable because they are already aware of the applicant's performance. Reference checks serve two important purposes: to gain insight about the potential employee from the people who have had previous experience with him or her, and second, to assess the potential success of a prospective employee. The next step is physical or medical examination. In the stage of uh, In the process of selection, quite often the candidates are told to obtain a medical certificate from a medical practitioner declaring them to be fit for the job. The result of the medical fitness tests are recorded in a statement and are preserved in the personal records. Medical examinations is a part of the selection process for all suitable candidates in many organizations. A job offer is often contingent upon the candidate being declared fit by the physical examination. The last stage of the selection procedure is the final selection. After the final selection of the candidate, management will have to explain the job to him. He should be informed about his duties, what is expected of him, and what his future prospects in the organization are. He is formally appointed by issuing him with an appointment letter or by drawing a service agreement. The appointment letter contains the terms and conditions of employment, pay scale, and other benefits associated with the job position. Companies are beginning to realize that the foundation of their competitive strategy is the quality of their human capital. Having a top notch, flexible, innovative staff may be a competitive advantage that is more sustainable than technical or marketing advantages. Such people will be able to generate and implement a wide range of new strategies in order to respond quickly to a changing environment. This suggests hiring the best individual one can find rather than hiring those who fit a specific job or strategy that exists today but may be gone tomorrow. So that's it, folks. That's all for today. Thank you for joining with me today on this lecture on selection process. I hope you learned something of value from this, and I hope to see you again soon in the next lecture. Happy learning.